Alright, here we are again. We're working on our planishing hammer. Now the last time we worked on this, we flow formed our rib for the top. So I've done a whole bunch of welding and stuff on this, and I'm going to break these videos up into kind of little different segments, like what I've done. Now if you look, I don't know if you can really see it in the camera, there's a little bit of a jog in this thing, and there's little pits left over from welding. So what I'm going to show you how to do is using a very small amount of body filler, is straightening these lines out, and how we did it when I was working in the body shop. Now you can kind of see what I've got going on here. I'm going to straighten this out so I know that this is my center line and this is my center line here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run a piece of tape where I want my line to be. And right instantly now you can see that this sort of jogs over a little bit. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to try and taper out right where the point of this goes. I know I'm probably using too much tape, but that's okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a line from this point with our tape all the way back to here. So now follow with your eye and all the way back. So now what this is going to do is we're going to, oh, I went over the edge a little bit too much here. Maybe not. So what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of fill, just to barely straighten this line out a little bit. And then when we pull our tape, we're going to have a nice crisp line there. And we'll do the same thing over on the other side. So let's mix up some filler. So I'm just going to do this with some cheap Canadian Tire brand body filler, which is actually not that bad. I mean, all I'm doing is just prepping this so that the paint looks good. But when you open the can, you'll notice that there's oils and stuff that are in there. Now you want to try and scrape that into the filler and mix it in. I don't know if you can see all the yellow goop that's in there. That stuff separates out, and that's all the stuff that makes this work when you add your cream hardener to it. So get that mixed in. Now you don't want to mix this on cardboard or anything like that, because what the cardboard ends up doing is it sucks out all your active ingredients into the cardboard, and you don't get as good of a quality of product in the end. Now you want to make sure you follow the instructions on how much to do, how much hardener to add and stuff, and I'm going to throw the lid on this while we work. Generally what I do is I try and squish a lot of the bubbles out. And you want to squish your hardener back and forth just to get it a little bit mixed up. And a lot of times when you open this, you'll still get a little bit of a shot of, oh, worked pretty good. So you just want to do a little bit of a stripe like that. Scoop it onto your trowel and flatten it out. You see guys that go like this when they do it, and what ends up happening when they're going like this is they whip air into it. So you want to try and eliminate as much air as you can. So you want to go like how I'm doing it here, and just squish it across until you've got a nice even color all the way. And now we want to try and take what we just mixed, and this looks like a lot, but it's really not, because I'm going to be troweling a lot of this off anyway. Try and get it on there. Squish out all the bubbles. I'll be going across after with my finger. Just squishing that in as much as I can. There, we're good. Now any place else that we've got to put it, I got quite a bit mixed here. So try to add it into those spots while we can. Alright, now that we've got that, it's set up a little bit. I'm just going to close this end out a bit. And salvage some of what's on the tape. Start pulling our tape lines. Now it looks like there's a lot on there, but we'll sand it down a little bit once it's hardened, and it'll be totally fine. Alright, so let's get this started. I'm going to take a long block here, and I'm just going to knock off all the tops, just so that I can make this nice and straight on where I want it, so that everything's even. And I'm sanding this right now with some 120. Now normally I'd be wearing a mask, but since this is a demonstration, I'm only going to be making a little bit of dust. And from this side, I know we're fairly straight. Bring this down a little bit. Now I've got the beginnings of our line in there. I don't know if you can see this very well. My camera doesn't focus very well. But now I've got a line that's going on here. And I want to switch to a bit of a square block that's got a rounded edge on it. And you want to come at an angle. Basically what I'm doing is coming at a 60-degree angle, then I'll be coming back the other way at a 60-degree angle. Now this is the tedious work. Nobody likes doing this stuff. But when it comes to building stuff, this is where it really matters. And it looks like I still got a couple of low spots in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand this out until it's fairly close. Then I'm going to come back with some finishing putty and just kind of finish it off. Now you can go about a 1/4 inch with filler, and we're well below this. I mean, this is probably paper thin on here. I'm gonna go off camera and sand this down a little bit more. I've got my nice straight line here, which is what I wanted to start with. Now I've got something that I'm gonna tape on here again, hit it with some finishing putty, kind of all the way across in here, probably just use my thumb just so it's got a skim coat on it, then sand it down to 120 and it'll be ready for primer. Alright, now after a marathon of sanding, we're ready to throw some primer on this baby. I'm using a high build direct to metal primer here, and this is mostly just to seal in our bodywork. I'm going to give it a quick shot here, make sure you wear the gear, and after that I'm just going to throw on some hammer tone paint, and we'll see how it looks. gonna let that sit for a little while. You can see I've got some black on there. What the black is a little bit of seam sealer. Just where some of the seams were a little bit, I wanted to seal them off. You shouldn't see it once I apply paint to it. It should kind of melt it out a bit. So I've got the heater on in the garage right now. I've got one of the doors open. I'm trying to blow some of the smell out and to heat this up a little bit, help it flash off a little bit. So it says on the can to give it about a half an hour to flash off before you top coat it. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Since I'm putting hammer tone paint on it, I don't need it to be perfect, so I'm pretty excited. It's getting to the end, finally. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the bell. Share this video and be sure to comment below. I always try to reply back. There's a lot of great content coming up on this channel and you don't want to miss it. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram. Let's hang out in the garage.